Going on, my good people? I want to holler at y'all real quick about facing your fear of the traumas that keep you bounded to not reaching your greatest good. Facing your fear of the traumas that keep you bounded for not reaching your greatest good. Let's talk about it. So basically, you go through life, most people, probably 98% of people, go through life trying to force themselves to have a certain level of confidence, a certain level of responsibility that shows up a high level of performance. But deep down inside, most of us are suffering in silence. Meaning, due to the traumas, whether it be childhood traumas, like growing up with certain traumas, we know it's different types of traumas. It could be physical, it could be verbal. Verbal meaning the verbal abuse, the way parents, guardians, or whoever was in charge, or aunts, uncles, cousins, relatives, friends, whatever it might be throughout your life, the way they may speak to you, especially if you was a sensitive person due to certain situations that took place in your life. It could, break a whole lot of internal things down inside of you. The physical aspect of it could be beating on you. Like if you was a child who grew up getting your ass whipped a lot, or if it's a situation with sexual trauma where you've been touched inappropriately, or family incest, all those different things that take place while you're young, and as you begin to grow throughout the years, it's like nobody speaks on it. It's like the how they say it, the saying, the elephant in the room that nobody sees, nobody want to speak on, and you become one of them people, which I would say the chosen ones specifically, that you have this desire, you have this yearning, burning sensation within you deep down inside that you're here for a reason, you're here for a bigger cause, a bigger purpose. But all of these different things hold you back, hold you down. Because now what does it breaks down? It breaks down your confidence, your self-esteem, the way you love yourself, the way you think, the way you view life. And that's why y'all always hear me say, go within, connect with the Most High in your spiritual team, because, a lot of the times it happens when people have their spiritual awakenings. And like anything, everything is a divine timing. When the Most High say, that's when it's going to be. However, because we was all raised a certain type of way, especially whether you was in the country or whether you was in the city, but speaking as a community concept, we all indulge in a lot of similar addictions because we all faced a lot of similar traumas. You get me? So, for example, speaking from my own personal, when you start speaking truth, like when you go within, face yourself, taking that narrow road that ain't for everybody, when you start to discover who you are, discover like all of the things that you was taught, that you start to unlearn and then relearn you, the real you. And that's when you are knowing the Most High isolates you away from everybody and give you that time and that sensation of not being in fear, because everybody have a point in life where they go through a lot of fearful things that was put on them. So when you get to that isolation point where you able to really truly face your fears and you facing those traumas, like I would say facing your demons and like really taking it in, and then you come out a whole new individual, speaking your truth, not caring what people say, think, or feel, not being like in a disrespectful manner, directly going to them like, yeah, da 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 da, but in a way where it's like, yo, look, whatever you got going on is your business, but you're not gonna shut me up, you're not gonna shut me down from speaking what it is, because you begin to realize, you come to that realization where it's like, this is part of the generational curses. So if the goal is to break the generational curses, then one would say, why would you not speak on it? But it makes others, keyword feel, a certain type of way, because they're looking at you, even though you're not even thinking about them, you just going through your own personal spiritual journey of connecting with the Most High and your spiritual team and really understanding who you are, which the end result calls for you to speak your truth without fear, standing in your power. So you may hear the little rumors here and there, but others naturally feel some type of way towards you, because it's not really you directly that they're mad at. They mad that you have the strength and the courage that they don't have to speak this truth, to speak out on these things that they experienced also. And because they want to speak it, but they still in that mindset, that state of fear that keeps them stuck, keeps them bounded. For example, I'll give an analogy as how they taught us growing up about the three little pigs story and a bad wolf blowing the house down and all this, that, and the third. And then they finally got to the point they done used the straw, the wood, and then finally got to the bricks. But when you truly tap into you get a different perspective. You begin to realize that the whole time, it wasn't about the wolf being the bad wolf. That was the perception that was taught to you. When in reality, if you do a little research and you really look into the function and the dynamics of a wolf and a wolf pack, and how they would call it the alpha wolf takes care of his family, and how he'll go against certain situations and certain things if it comes to a point where it feels like whoever it might be is trying to infiltrate that connection. It's similar to the same thing when you step out on faith, unshakable faith, and you speaking your truth about things that the people that was around you, whether family, friends, or people just knew that you just been around, however it may go, or whatever your dynamic was of how you grew up, that already experienced these things, but it was that unspoken concept of whatever happens in the house stays in the house type situation. So all these different things that's happening, all these traumas, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, downplaying certain things, treating you other than what you are, making you feel like if you don't do this, you can't be a part of this. All of the, the abandonment issues that people have. Like I said earlier, killing their self-esteem, bringing down their confidence, using control tactics to, if you don't do this, then you can't play with us, or like it go way back to in your childhood. Like how they take a toy and put you on a shelf, meaning they don't want to play with you. And then when you start playing with a toy that's theirs, then all of a sudden they want that toy to play with. Then when you don't want the toy, they put the toy down, then they wait, and it's like, oh, you ain't paying them no mind. Oh, you can play with my toy. So it's those different things that majority of us experienced from childhood to growing up. But a lot of people get stuck in it because they worried about how another person may feel because of the titles. So they can't face their fears on the traumas because it became what we call the status quo, the norm. So because everybody has experienced something and everybody is treating it like it's nothing, let me do the same. Let me go about it the same way. That would be the concept. So now, when you take that analogy of quote unquote the pigs and you building that last quote unquote house, the third pig, because it's symbolic. They use the pig, but I'm just using us as the example, as people who was in the fear state. When you come out of that fear, when you come to that realization and know that fear don't exist unless you believe in it, and you take your power back because you went within, you faced your demons and you overcame, and your whole perception changed. So now you're building a solid foundation within self first. Self-love, self-esteem becomes high level, high self-esteem, and all these different things, high vibrations, and all of these things you connect to you, and then you realize the traditional way of life of how you was taught it, you know now that's not what it is. That don't exist in that perception for you anymore, because it doesn't fit who you are, and it never set right with you, but you just couldn't understand why. And it was because it was distorted. So when they say people see things in you before you see it in yourself, or people know who you are before you know who you are, they can feel it. They can know you destined for better, for greatness or whatever. And you'll be surprised how, for lack of a better term, how things will come out the woodwork as, like, once you begin to understand who you are, things come out the woodwork, information come your way, that these things were orchestrated as setups from other people who didn't want to do the work, or couldn't do the work because they didn't feel they had the capabilities, because they didn't go through a healing process, or they didn't face their fears or the traumas that came behind it, because they was scared and worried about how it would make another person feel, or the title of whoever was taking care of them feel, because then it is showed that they messed up. And because we praise the title of everything and not the actual doing, is why we'll feel a certain type of way. So when you go within and you unlearn and relearn you, and you start really building brick by brick on a spiritual foundation, then it lasts. Longevity, long term. Vice from what it was in your past, where you, in your, whether it be jobs or family dynamics, friendships, situationships, relationships, whatever, so forth, so on, that you would be building and feel like you're doing everything right from what you know, what you think, what you was taught, and then it crumbles. And you can't understand why. Why every time I'm building something up and it looks like it's working out, everything coming together, and then out of the blue it crumbles. And specifically, in my opinion, is because it wasn't built off a solid foundation internally. Externally, physically, from the naked eye, yeah, it always looked like that. That's why a lot of people are stuck on the materialistic concept that, oh, because of what I have determines who I am. oh, if I have a lot of money, then that makes me on this level. But then it's like you can build up, you can get that X amount of money, and then it could dissipate. And then it's like, why? What happened? I was doing everything right. Now you feeling less than who you really are. Why is that? Because you allow that external stuff, that materialistic stuff, to be your priority, to determine who you are, to determine your value of your character. When in reality, those things come, those things go. You have a different perception because you know who you are, because you built that solid foundation internally with the Most High and your spiritual team to understand that it's not the materialistic stuff that gives you the value. It already came in you. The Most High already put your gifts in you. That's why certain situations, like how you hear the saying where they be like, oh, he or she understood the assignment. If I went deeper with that concept, it would be what was put in you from the Most High to come to this earthly realm and do what you're supposed to do, which is living in your purpose, like learning, going through these trials, tribulations, and challenges and obstacles, and learning who you are and understanding who you are, connecting to who you are, building a solid foundation, knowing and understanding your purpose, and then living in that. That's where the concept come up. You understand and understand that assignment. But for the base value, it would be materialistic. That's why when things happen in life, the first thing, think about it, the first thing when negative things happen, whether a person get laid off at a job, lose a place, lose a vehicle, and all these different things that is going to take place because life happens. What's the first thing they do? They look at the negative side of it. The first thing they do, oh my God. You could probably have no religion. You could be no disrespect to nobody's religion or whatever they subscribe to. But you could be atheist. You could be religious. You could be spiritual, however you want to put it, that don't have the understanding of what it really means to know who you are. And everybody calls on God. Oh my God, oh my God. And like I said in a previous video, know who you connected to. And the only way you're going to know who you connected to is by knowing who you are, by going within. Like I'm going to always say that. Those going to be the two main things you always hear me say. Go within, connect with the Most High and your spiritual team, and do the work. Doing the work is not just based off a materialistic aspect. Like I said before, the physical aspect, it starts with building a solid foundation internally, spiritually, mentally, then physically. And all those things internally, when you have that solid foundation internally, it will show externally because you will know how to manage within. You will be disciplined enough within to know that no matter what the situation looks like as of the current situation, I'm abundant. I am the wealth. I'm happy. I'm supposed to be where I'm at. And as time goes on, I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be. But where I'm at right now is where I'm supposed to be at. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful for that. And the more you show that gratitude, you're going to want to show that gratitude because you know who you are. So it's not about what's on the outside. You don't have to feel like a certain type of vehicle is going to make you be who you are, or a certain type of house or apartment is going to make you who you are, because that's not what this is about. And that's where it comes to what I said originally, facing your fear of the traumas that keep you bounded from reaching your highest self, serving your highest good. You won't ever be able to cancel out that fear if you don't understand what it is that's keeping you in fear. You won't ever be able to get to them higher levels if you don't acknowledge and understand why you're on the lower level, or why you feel like you're on a lower level, or why you feel you have to have more, materialistically speaking, rather than feeding your soul, feeding your spirit, and connecting. It's like they say, information is powerful. We know this. Information is very powerful. That's why you can't believe everything you hear. You can't believe everything you read. And not everybody tell you, read this, read that, or this person said this, or go listen to that person. When you building that solid foundation within, like going within, connecting with the Most High and your spiritual team, and really connecting and having the patience and the discipline, and really being able to listen through meditation and these different things to connect, then you'll see that as things go, whether it be information coming your way, certain people having conversing with you, or certain books you may read, you'll know how to treat it like what I used to say in the past, a T-bone steak. The meat that you're gonna take off it, that fulfilling, and throw away the bone, then that's how you go with it, because then you'll know what you're in alignment as. I use that for lack of a better analogy, but basically saying, because I'm not a meat eater, but to each his own. However, the whole concept of it is when you in alignment with who you are, and knowing who you are, and building that solid foundation within yourself, showering yourself with self-love, self-gratification of understanding you, being thankful, living in the present, understanding your past, and the perception of knowing that, okay, even though those things were bad when they was happening, but now I can perceive it that what didn't kill me only made me stronger, or even though those things hurt me, I'm in a position mentally to understand who I truly am. So now I'm not saying, oh, I'm gonna push it to the side like it never exists. It's like, no, I'm gonna utilize that. I'm gonna use my pain for power. So I have that saying, we all know, heal people. When you're going through your healing process, and you become healed, you want to help people, but